Hola and welcome everybody to Monday Night Fire Shrike. We are uh we are here. And let's go ahead and I want to start this opening real quick here with who do I want to start with? Let's start with actually let's start with Serold. And maybe we get like the title card, like we get a picture, a shot of Triaxis and the title card that says Triaxis. And maybe we get Serold and his two fellow investigators getting off of a transport in a busy station. There's a lot of, we see a lot of dragonkin, some humans, some elves. We see, we see a few other races from around the Pact world. The isekai sort of are everywhere to begin with anyway. There's maybe a Vesk or two here and there, but there's there and it's kind of just like a little bit of a mishmash, but a bit heavier on the human and dragonkin side. They're more native populace, um, and we're kind of in this we're kind of in the city, and where you kind of figured you've managed to track down like that you want to be on Triaxis and try to start your investigation here because the whoever I saw it was had written down that there was had put on a dartboard that there was some sort of cover up going on here on Triaxis, that a vague whoever they are connected to somebody that would be really surprising and shocking to a lot of folk. And you've kind of tracked it down to this particular city, and you're kind of have just gotten off the transport. What is your first move? Are you gonna go look for something to someplace to stay while you're in town, someplace to eat? Are you gonna try to immediately pick up the trail? Are you gonna try to see if you've got any contacts on world? What's your first move, Serold?
Sarald's first move is actually probably to get the trail because his thought is the longer we go without looking for the trail is the more time the Triaxians have to destroy potentially key evidence.
All right.
And all he remembers is it said that someone in the Triaxian government or like their police force, something had happened and they were covering it up. So
Oh,
like, are we in a particularly big city on Triaxis? Are we in like the capital?
yeah, it's a fairly decent sized city. Me, where did the trying to remember the name of the actual city, but god damn it,
Oh, we've already got lettuce. Is it cabbage?
no, it's not. It is not. Not at all. See, it was fucking. That's Akaton. Where's Triaxis? There's the Adari, Eox, Diaspora. Here we are. Uh, Find it there.
What kind of world is Triaxis?
So Triaxis is a more or less temperate world. Its night and day, its local night and day cycles um, are a bit off. Let's see. Well, I don't know. Where is it? Ah, you're in Kumo.
Kumo.
Yeah, it's a Skyfire trade, like a trading port. And it's kind of a place where they know where like it's there is its own it has its own underworld here and what have you.
Hmm.
So yeah,
What are the names of my companions again?
Kalith and Harak.
Yeah.
Kalith is a Svartalvar technomancer and a cult hunter, and Harak is an operative.
Yeah, Harak seems like he would be the one that would have the easiest time getting us to find the seedy underbelly of Coomer.
This is Kumo, not Coomer.
Kumo. Fucking Mike, damn it.
Damn right, I
Um,
strike again.
well,
Mike.
let me see.
One's a city, one is something much different.
Oh, damn it! Do what I tell you to do, not what you're trying to do. So I be I think I'll add Hawk Best, and it's gonna take him.
That virtual dice.
And it's gonna take him 2 hours to find anything. So you you tell him like you tell him to go search for the seedy underworld. Like, how do you actually say this? How do you like approach this?
Probably. I'm not gonna do it like right as we get off the ship and we're like in the spaceport and be like, "Hello, friend. I wish for you to find criminals." Uh, that just seems like a very bad idea. So once we're
and
out
how
and in like the general populace, walking down a street on in Kumo, and like when we're relatively alone, like turns his head to Carrick and is like, "It is in our best interest that we quickly find the people who, or that we quickly find the crime that is being investigated. I cannot go to the authorities. It is best that we find someone less connected with law enforcement, but who would still be aware of this incident."
all right. So all right, yeah. So and Harak is a Kayal, so he's descended from shadow people. He is a
Woo!
shadow people. You have a shadow fae and a shadow people, so
I'm surrounded by shadows.
you are. You are
All
indeed.
around you are familiar faces.
But yeah,
The darkness, my old friend.
Harak nods and he breaks off, maintaining a air of trying to maintain a discreet air about him. Uh, what are you gonna do while you wait for Harak to search for answers here? Well, to
Probably
search for
have
leads.
probably have my other companion, since he's a technomancer, try and look up recent news stories. Because if it was
Okay.
see what kind of information is going out about crime recently, anything that
Alright.
seems a little weird or a little too manufactured.
Alright. Sure. Let's get Kellis Ineb's computer roll here. 26. I think after I think if like first he's like, well, I don't think it's going to be an easy proposition to say, surf the infosphere as it were while we're walking around. Perhaps we find a cafe or I don't know, a park bench, maybe ooh, maybe just someplace with a nice view. Although I'm not sure if I would get a good connection there or not. I mean, I'd have to boost the signal perhaps, but
Like as
any
they're
ideas?
talking and Caliph is waxing philosophical on this, like immediately the first cafe they see, like because that's the first thing he heard. Sreld like makes a sharp turn to go towards it and just grabs Caliph and takes him with him without saying anything.
Yeah, Kellis is like, oh, I guess a cafe it is. I could use a little pick me up. Perhaps a coffee. And yeah, you find yourselves like at this cafe, and it's got like a little outdoor like patio area to it. I mean, you gotta kind of go in. It looks like it's kind of a little bit busy, so you may have to go inside to order. You're not entirely certain if the one girl that is sort of waiting the outside area is going to get to you with any relative speed.
Yeah,
Uh,
I like tell him to secure us a place to sit. I will requisition us the necessary beverages.
oh, good. He goes, like mine with a latte, perhaps? He's like,
A lot of what?
"Car- with caramel syrup, a latte."
There's this
And
blank moment before Cyril nods. He's like, "Understood. A latte with caramel."
yeah. Killa's been with you for a while. He's been to a few dimensions with you, and he has weird taste sometimes. Um, but yeah, he goes and then finds himself a place to sit. Uh, it'll cost it'll cost you it'll cost you 10 credits to purchase a couple of coffees, whatever his latte, whatever you're getting.
Yeah, probably just a rather simple, probably a tea, and then like assuming that this is kind of like space Starbucks, so Star Starbucks. Um, Also, some of the like three of those cake pops.
Right, nice.
Sarald's got a sweet tooth, and he doesn't even realize he does it sometimes.
Nice. Yeah, by the time you
Cyril
come
unwraps another butterscotch.
back, right, as by the time you get back, Kellith is at the computer. He goes, "Ooh." He goes, "Well, I am still working on the our mysterious poster, but did you realize that he says and he turns the uh like his computer around to face you, and like the screen is facing you, and there is a picture of a a group of people, many of which are very familiar. There's a few different faces there, and some of the faces look a little different than you've seen them in other dimensions and what have you. But there's no mistaking it. Um, this is very definitely this dimension's Fire Shrike crew. Because in most realities, it's led by a Captain Zy Volvetto for whatever, it's the trick is what kind of person is this particular Zy Volvetto, and you know, uh, why are they important? Like most of the time, you've run into the Fire Shrike in other dimensions. They've been a part of big things, but you've always just sort of assumed that they're just like that for whatever reason. They're just always destined, almost always anyway, destined to be wrapped up in this stuff, at least as far as you've seen, and what have you. But he goes, "It seems like they exist here too." And he turns his computer back and forth, and he goes, "Ah, now for our mysterious poster. Ooh, that's interesting."
Hmm. Before we continue, what can you tell me of the Fire Shrike in this universe?
Oh, he kind of taps on his board a little bit, and he goes, "Interesting, interesting. Apparently, they're terrorists here and pirates
Unsurprising.
and well, arms dealers,
Where
and
do you think that
apparently
I
they're
where do you think that I found the choked eulogy?
and apparently they're apparently they're f- this is an interesting commonality. This is yet another one where they appear to be friends with the keepers of the secret."
Their taste
Yeah.
in music is rather trite, I must admit, but that does not necessarily mean that they are not connected to many events that are important.
No, no, no. And he's like, they've been fighting some war out in the vast mm, against the Hell Knights. Interesting. Uh, he goes, there are. It seems like in the colonies, they're treated as some sort of folk heroes in some circles, but the rest of the galaxy at large tends to consider them to be wanted terrorists and criminals. Well, they have a criminal record in the Pact worlds. Their reputation is what it is elsewhere. I'm not finding any particular legal records in some of the more major places. Says, he goes, apparently our sender, our poster, I saw it, was posting from this very city.
Serendipitous. Or
And he
perhaps
says,
our unknown benefactor decided that it would be this way.
well, we can't rule out the possibility that he simply knows things that we don't. I mean, after all, we know things that many of the people we come into contact with don't know. It does get rather annoying, but I suppose that either way is possible. It appears that the poster is a man by the name of Altho Altho Blith? Altho Blith. We're running a search comparison on him. And he kind of does a minute and he goes, it appears that he says, it appears he has a cousin on Akaton who claims to have been abducted by Greys. No other family listed.
Greys are known for their mental capabilities, correct?
Well, they're known for a number of things, um, namely unwanted surgeries. Well, and experimentation, being incredibly mysterious. Nobody knows where they come from exactly or how their technology works. Ability to erase memories or at least cover them up for some period of time. They're a very enigmatic people.
Our strange benefactor that mentally contacted me back during the crime scene, I believe, may be, in fact, one of them.
It certainly is a possibility.
Has there been any supposed Grey activity on Triaxis within the last 2 months?
In the last 2 months, well, there are the usual random sightings, occasional stories. Hard to verify much of any of them.
Are any of them linked with the criminal underworld and or the local police force?
I'm not certain. Although I believe we were shown this poster and this for a reason. Perhaps they have more information, this Altho Blith.
Precisely. Once we are regrouped, we should endeavor to communicate with him. Post haste.
Uh, he nods and he says, reasonable course of action to me. And he goes, I do love these, and takes a drink of his latte. And this is where we make a jump cut. And we're going to jump cut all the way over
Oh,
to.
real quick. By the way, his latte is like mostly caramel. And the
Nice. Oh,
joke
yeah.
is, and when he asks about it, he's like, you asked for a latte caramel. I endeavored to make sure that there was a lot of caramel.
He doesn't seem to care in mind.
Rush. Yeah.
Let's jump over to Vesa, and we go to we go to and maybe some time has passed, like Pluiga, and you have had time to get something to eat and kind of like you know maybe do whatever like shopping. They have sturdy armor. They appear to have some sturdy armor and weapons here, but they're not much in the way of fashion. Uh, they're not terribly fashionable. And Pluiga just sort of shrugs and is like, "Well, our they're known for their quality, but they're not known for their beauty. I think that but we're a little farther forward in that even. It's nighttime, and you have VIP tickets to the Keepers of the Secret, and and this is you're kind of like in the sort of like the skybox and
Yeah, yeah.
whatnot, watching like you and Pluiga are because you know privilege, right?
Right, of
You're
course.
you're you're kind of like and it's a heck of a concert. I mean, they're some of their they put on a good show if nothing else. There's a great deal of theatrics, fireworks and stage effects, occasional illusions and holograms thrown into the mix to enhance the act. Um, really just like these sort of like images that seem a bit post-apocalyptic, that seem like they'd really be, par for the course for a number of like different cults or, secret societies and that sort of thing,
Uh-huh.
Um, but you're kind of like in the box, and let me get a perception check from you.
Sure can. Let me find it. Oh, where would you be? Oh, crap. What's that? I act like I've never played these games before.
All right.
Um,
It'll be in your skills under your ability scores. Alphabetical order on the way down.
I skipped it. 30.
Okay. Nice. That's pretty good. You're
Oh.
actually paying a great deal. You catch this kind of as you're because you're in the skybox and you're kind of like watching the crowd as well as the show and whatnot. Because you know, nothing quite like watching the masses while you watch the show. And you're kind of like out of the corner, you start noticing there seem to be like, and of course there are a lot of like enthusiastic fans down there. There's Patra and Vesk and Skittermander and Isekai and people from the Pact worlds who have traveled here just to see this show because it's you know a first, um, and what have you. And they're in the middle of like a song that they had written about like a secrets that they share that they claim they share with the terrorists of the Fire Shrike. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and they're kind of like they're right in the middle of this, and you kind of notice that among the fans there are a couple. Of there's a small group of like Vesk mostly
Mm-hmm.
that are walking through that are kind of like surreptitiously trying to walk through the crowd. They appear to be trying to be unnoticed, but but they also appear to be on the hunt, and they all seem to be converging um, on something towards on something towards the front of the crowd and what have you.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, so I tap Pluiga and I'm like, "Yo, do you see this? Do you see what's happening down there?" And I, I point, but I try not to make it a point that anybody can see me pointing. Does Pluiga see what I'm talking about when I can point it
but,
out?
I'd say that's probably good enough to give him a bonus. Yeah, he catches it too. He goes, "Ooh, that doesn't look good." Wow. He goes, "I wonder what's going on. Maybe they're law enforcement tracking down seditious traitors." He goes, the Hammers operate with near full authority, with near impunity, under the direction of the high despots. And
Yeah.
he is, and as he's kind of saying that, like, give me a sense motive here. I
Okay.
want to, I want to see what because this is all about sort of what your perception of the situation is here.
Garbage. It's an 18.
It's still decent enough. They're not exactly, super good at this, which is why they're trying to do it in a crowd where it's a little harder to like pick them out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they, but what seems to be going on here is these guys they're not law enforcement. They don't move like law enforcement. Law
Mm-hmm.
enforcement wouldn't necessarily be as surreptitious. They might be sneaky, but they'd be more organized, or at least they'd be more visibly organized.
Right.
This group of people all seem intent on the same target,
Mm-hmm.
which you know they may have planned something in advance. But like if you were to watch, from like watching police forces everywhere, and you're pretty sure that just from what you've watched from Vesk police forces, that they would tend to have some signals back and forth, as far as approaching, measuring their approach out between them. The
Mm-hmm.
very least, you'd see some signs that they were, utilizing comms of some sort to keep in contact. But they don't seem to be communicating with each other. It's just this quiet understanding of what their target is, but who knows what kind of plan. They don't operate like law enforcement
Right.
does.
How
Uh,
many are there?
there is a group of about 5,
Okay.
and they're kind of converging. They're kind of converging down in the way. And uh, Xander, are you here?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I want to jump down to you because you are in the crowd. Um, you had tickets to this thing, and you've got some backstage passes, but you're pretty close to the stage right now. Um, whether it's by choice or by dint of that's the way the crowd moved you towards is up to you. Um, are you there? Are you close because you're choosing to be, or was that just like the crowd sort of like pushed you there?
It would be a choice on Xander's part to be close up there to get a better perspective on it to make adequate notes
Oh,
of
okay. Oh,
songs and stuff. He would want to be as close as possible for every finite detail of the performance and whatnot, and to make notes of that.
give me a perception check. Awesome.
Oh,
You get the distinct impression that you are being watched. That you're being that you are being watched, and that you're being like sort of and as soon as you kind of like look around, you realize that there are several Vesk trying to look casual, but intent on you. Like very clearly it's that thing where somebody is just staring a hole in you, and you turn around to just in time to see them avert their gaze and try to look like they're paying attention to something else, and you realize that they've they've got you more or less surrounded. They're it's not tightened into the noose enough that you can't try to escape at this point, but they're definitely forming a ring, forming like a semicircle around you at this point.
Okay, I'm gonna let them. They don't look armed or anything like that. They're just kind of.
Give me a sense motive here.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, Yeah, they maybe you're not sure. Maybe they just like your clothes. Maybe they just want to like. Maybe they just uh oh maybe they want to learn something. Maybe these are vests that like want some books learnings. You never know. Um,
Yeah.
as
So I would go with my original thought is let them come up and see what they want
okay.
because I don't feel threatened. Then I was like, oh, they seem nice people. Let's go.
Um. All right. Uh. Vasa, give me another perception check here.
Okay, I wanted to also ask how far am I from them? You said perception?
Yes. You are in a skybox. He is down on the floor. So if you've ever like either looked up at the skybox at a concert or
Too far.
looked down from,
Yeah. Okay. Can I ask a
let's see.
follow-up question?
Yes, you can.
If I own a jetpack, will it only carry me?
Uh, yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Plu's only upgrade is an auto CPR unit.
Okay.
All right. So, all right. I want to see. Did Plu? No, Plu didn't actually notice it. You notice it, but you notice it kind of like right before it happens. There is a moment where, and we kind of see this from both, like in split screen from both Xander's perspective and from Vase's perspective. All at once, the Vesk that are sort of like approaching, sort of like realizing that Xander has noticed them, makes sort of a quick break through the crowd
Hmm.
to try to get to him, and they and come running up all at once. But you realize, like right before they turn, like you notice something about like where that you hadn't noticed before about where their target seems to be standing. First of all, you notice that their target appears to be that scholar you saw, um, the scholar that you saw like when you were by the Impact World's embassy.
Hmm.
So that's the first thing you notice, um, and then, um, but the next thing you notice is that there are several rather large patra that were kind of standing next to him, and you're not entirely certain that like they were kind of moshing maybe, and you had thought nothing of them. Oh well, they're just kind of moshing, and you'd notice that, and of course anybody in a mosh pit, generally typically looks aggressive from afar. So, um, but the moment that like that you see like all of them start looking like right before they turn and they break from their spots in the mosh pit that's just like sort of right by where this scholar is standing, and they break over and run and intercept the Vesk that are closing in, and a brawl breaks out right there, with these Vesk and these overly large and overly aggressive uh, Patra
Hmm.
that just like claw for claw, going after each other. Uh, Xander, from your perspective, you realize just a second, a second too late for you to react, that these seemingly friendly Vesk have broken ranks and are running at you through the crowd. And the only thing that really like saves you on reaction is that you know, these Patra that were moshing in a pit near you, like also broke out and just ran over and jumped on them, and there's just like this big fight going on right there. What is your reaction here?
Mainly surprised because I thought it was a friendly whatever, and then now they're fighting, and it's more of a shock thing at first on what's going on. Then I take the information and analyze and process it, so it takes a few seconds for it to be like, oh, they were trying to kill me, and these people protecting me. Cool.
Yeah, and there is the brawl goes on for a minute, and the brawl continues. Um, and it's that thing where one of the one of the bigger, brawnier Vesk manages to manages to push the Patra that's on him off and punch him and knock him back into the crowd a little bit, and starts coming towards you. Um, the other Patra and Vesk right now are tied up, but this particularly big one starts moving towards you with intent.
So, question: can I yell "run" even though it makes probably zero difference because we're in a concert? Just
Well, you can. I mean, I feel like that makes a great visceral reaction. There's no way that you're way up in a skybox, and you're right. There is a concert. There's no way that he could hear you. But yeah, it would make sense that you might be like, "Fucking run!"
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'm no longer paying attention to the concert now. I'm just watching this shit go down, and it's crazy.
yeah, it's like, yeah, there. Uh,
So
uh, Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna have random thought of standing my ground, but then I realize there is so many people here. This would be a bad idea. I need to get out somewhere to where there's not so many
See,
victims. Something goes down.
All right. So, what direction are you going to head in? Are you going to try to head for the exit? Are you going to try to head backstage where there's possibly more security? Are you going to try to find the security personnel to get this thing broken up? How are you going to go about this?
Okay, so I was thinking of going along the stage air since I'm clear up at the front, going along the stage and try to make my way. Since I have the backstage passes, I'm going to utilize those and go backstage.
Okay, yeah, sure. Um, you're a give me an initiative here. Let's see if you can. And what's your land speed?
That I have no idea. I couldn't find the speed thing to put it on there.
what?
All right.
It's up
Well,
at the top.
Yeah, that's
all
what I was
right.
thinking.
Ooh, he's kind of catching up. He's kind of throwing other Vesk and other concert goers out of his way as he makes his way towards you. Give me another initiative check here. Ooh, nice. And one more. Nice.
I
So,
start picking pace as I start going. It starts out slow, but as I start moving further, my pace quickens up a little bit.
yeah. Cool. Yeah, he yeah, this guy he means business, and he's throwing people out of his way and kind of bulling his way through the crowd. You, however, managed to be slipping and juking and jiving to get through the crowd just a tiny bit faster. And just as you managed to make the checkpoint for the backstage area, and he was, another couple. You're not entirely certain you were going to be able to lose him if it had been a long term running, But you get to the checkpoint for the backstage and show your backstage pass, and there's a couple of security vests standing there, and he kind of looks at them you kind of catch eyes with him. He looks at them, looks at you, and kind of turns around and heads back into the crowd. but you do manage to find yourself backstage, and like most backstage areas, it's nowhere near as glamorous as the hollow videos would have you believe. There is a craft table. It's by no means some luxury like, a green room or anything like this. This is, sort of like a, sports stadium that has been used for a concert. So yeah, you're like, but there's security back here, and you can see definitely. Um, I know, right? The But there's like, the band's managers and technicians, and the Vesk who oversee the operations for the stadium, and like the representatives back and forth. And I think you see Elliot Togan back here, the representative that you like, the diplomat that you talked to before. And Elliot kind of sees you and he goes, "Oh, hey, it's good to see you. Hey, I'm glad you made it." He's like, "Xander, hey, what's going on, man?" He's like, "Nothing like letting the hair down, right? This is the hell of a show out there." And there's like a couple of monitors with like the with showing the concert that's going on out front. He's like, says, as this was sort of assigned to me as like, this whole thing, sort of a publicity thing. And kind of also supposed to make sure that the band doesn't offend the Vesk, and set diplomatic relations back. And they're not exactly known for their diplomatic skills, shall we say.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that a few seconds ago because apparently I've made them mad at some point, and I don't know why. Because I don't know. But those
You
other
made
dudes were nice.
Who did you make mad?
I don't know. There was a couple of vest dudes that wanted to come charge straight at me for some reason, and these other people were like, "Oh no, not gonna happen," and then they were fighting, and then I ran away from a big one. Whoa!
He's like, "That's weird." And he goes, he's like, "I wonder what that was all about." And it could be thought you were an easy target, maybe. I mean, did you say anything to him before they tried to attack you?
Never communicated. I mean, I had thoughts that they were just being like, "Hey, this guy's cool," but they were specifically targeting me, and I'm not 100% sure why.
Major Sarkaz, hey, you might want to come take a listen to this. And you recognize the rather large Vesk that you met earlier. He kind of he comes over, and he does not seem to have. You're starting to get the impression he doesn't ever drop the military posture. And he's like, "Listen to what exactly?" And Elliot Togan is like, tell him what just happened."
So I reiterate to him the issue of it of, I'm sitting there taking notes about the band, so that it's proper documented about this historical event that is grand, and I noticed a bunch of vests coming towards me. I think they want to communicate, have conversations of intellectual importance, but then they start charging, and then these other group of people are like, nope, and try to fight them. One got through, and I ran away from them and came back here to talk to y'all.
He goes, "Can you describe these Vesk?
Red shoelaces.
Any any distinguishing marks? Any symbols you might have noticed them wearing?"
I would venture to say that I probably didn't notice specific features about certain. One of them was a really big vest, dude.
He goes, and there's a bit of a snort, and he goes, and Elliot looks at him and goes, I imagine that they can't have gotten far if you can send a detachment to. And he's like, of course. And he's like, security detachment 113, search the premises for Vesk who appear for a group of Vesk who may have some common denomination that we have don't know of yet. They will have just been in a fight up front near the stage, I believe.
Sure.
And we need an investigation. And he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and you hear somebody on the other side, yes, Commander, yes, Major, and like there's like, and he says, we'll get to the bottom of this, although we don't have a lot to work off of. And he goes, and who was it who jumped in to save you? Were they people you knew, or what were they?
I'm not sure. It originally looked like they were just, enjoying the concert, doing the whole moshy thing, and then they turned and protected me, I guess.
He kind of uh, narrows his eyes for a minute. And he's like, and he goes, "We'll let you know if we learn anything." And we'll cut back up to Vesa real quick here. It's reasonable to assume that if you had skybox tickets, you probably also have backstage passes. You do actually see that whoever the target of those Vesk were, you see the incident where like one of them breaks free and starts trying to chase him through the crowd, and he goes backstage, and you see the Vesk that's chasing him, you know, stop and look for a minute, and and then walk back through the crowd.
Yeah. And I tell Pluega, I'm just like, listen, I'm nosy and I need to know what happened. Do you want to go with me?
Hey, that sounds like a great idea. Says,
Okay.
but you always have great ideas. This
Oh,
would be
you're the
fun.
best hype man ever. Let's go.
Yeah, he is totally ready to go. He's like, all right.
I'm like, I'm
Right.
hyped. Let's do this. So, I guess we make our way down there and flash our
Alright.
multipass and
Alright.
Multi-pass.
Multi-pass.
Lelu multipass and hop right in. And where's my new friend?
Well, you employee make it down, manage to make it down there, you flash your passes and get backstage. By the time you get down there, you see that there's actually a Vesk security team that's questioning people where the fight happened, and sort of appear to be investigating. Uh, you go backstage, and there's definitely, you see the representative, Elliot Togan, one of the Pact World representatives. He's kind of a mid-level functionary as far as it goes here. But you know him because, I mean, when you went through customs, he was there to greet you because, well, your parents are semi-important, and he's hoping that your family will do business here with the Vescarium and increase trade ties. He doesn't realize whether that you probably have no interest in that whatsoever. He's
None.
just like he's like you're a family of important people, and we want important people to establish trade ties so that
An
the
important size
Vescarium feels
puppy.
happier with us. Yeah. Yeah, he's essentially just like, hoping for the best if he makes you feel welcome here. But you see this scholar over there, this android scholar that you had noted by the embassy earlier, talking to Togan, Representative Togan, and you're kind of they're talking, and there's some there's some Vesk who looks fairly official that is backstage here, and of course your the sort of like managers and technicians and sort of people who operate the stadium and the whatnot that you would expect. There's a crafts table with some fairly what look like some fairly delicious and exotic meats.
I take a
Uh,
piece as I
nice.
walk by.
You're not sure what it is, but it's tasty.
It's fun.
Very tender. It's cooked really well.
Yeah.
Um, it's just that perfect balance of rare and medium that's just rare enough to almost feel raw, but just medium enough to feel like it's been cooked enough that you're not going to die from sickness.
It's
I
That
take
raccoon
one
meat.
more piece as I start to
delicious.
walk away.
It's 100% raccoon meat.
I'm here for it. Give me those trash pandas.
They're but yeah, like they're you kind of like as you're like nosing about like uh and for your part, Xander, like you've been after Major Sarkaz assures you that they'll get back to you on this, like a typical bureaucrat or military officer. He he kind of he kind of goes over and keeps an eye on the situation more or less. But you also see a couple of people walk in. You see this um, sort of electric amethyst little skittermander walk in, and a Lashunta woman that that looks very well tailored as well. Both of them look like they could eat. They're connected, perhaps, maybe. Hard to tell though.
My best friend.
Interesting. No. I guess. All right. If I ain't got nothing, let's go say hi to the nice, cool people that walked in. I don't
All
know.
right, all right, yeah. You're kind of like, well, while they're investigating the people that tried to attack me. Yeah, so you see this, android, sort of walk over. Actually, it's not. You're not certain he's a scholar. Like, Plu seems to think he's a spice trader for some unknown reason.
Oh, yeah. It all makes sense now. So I'm like, hey, buddy, how are you? You okay?
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Super weird. So, what'd you do?
Nothing. I don't know. Maybe I didn't get the right information about a certain specific and known amount of people, and I analyzed it wrong and portrayed it incorrectly, and they weren't happy about it, and it got all messed up.
Oh,
I don't know.
um, well, do you want some help reorganizing your information?
Suppose to make the books accurate, maybe they weren't happy with the way I portrayed it. So I have to go over it again and make sure I get everything correct so that it presents well.
I think
What?
Plu interrupts here, and he's like, "You're talking about like your records, right? Like, because we have a bet. Like, we've got a bet. I say you're a spice trader. She says you're not."
Mhm.
But
I'm Pluiga, by the way, and he reaches out one of his 6 hands.
Oh, I'm
hi,
Vesa. Hi.
hi. No, I don't. I trade information. I gather information to update the library of information of books. That's
Oh,
what I do. I gather information about different races and be like, hey, this is what this place is like, so that people can have all the information they need if they're curious about certain planets and locations and whatnot.
cool. Pluega, I don't remember if I'm supposed to give you 20 credits or you're supposed to shut the fuck up for 45 minutes.
It's just like
I don't
Blue
remember
just
which one
Blue,
it was.
Blue just kind of looks at you like that's a good one, like that's a great joke. He's like, hey, and as typical, seems to get distracted like within seconds of this and goes, hey, they got fizzy pubs here. Or he's like, they've got fizzy drinks here.
Do
I'm gonna get a
because I
fizzy
tried to
drink.
meet. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I'm gonna
What's
do
that?
that too.
Just
Do it.
He's like, you want fizzy drinks? I'll have them bring some fizzy drinks back.
I'll
There's some
take the
fizzy
fizzy
drinks.
drink.
Yeah, and Plu kind of wanders off to get to the crafts table or to talk to somebody about fizzy drinks.
Justo.
Yeah.
Was Pluiga dropped on his head?
Oh.
Pluiga's just kind of hyperactive and airheaded. He's a little bit absent-minded at times.
The real
In
question
real
is,
life.
how many times?
Oh.
uh, but yeah, he's a little ADHD. That's kind of his problem there. He's just like, he's like, oh, what's that? Oh, hey, what's that?
I feel it. I feel it hard.
Yeah,
So,
he's
so I look over at my new android friend, and I never got your name, but also, what kind of information are you looking for right now?
The name I chose is Xander. That's what most people call me.
Good name.
What I do is I go around. I worked in a library stocking books, and I noticed they weren't fully up to date. So I've been going around updating books on different planets and systems and whatnot so that they're up to date. And I have this whole book and database of information of what I've gathered so far. So I'm just trying to update things.
Nice. So, why are you at this concert?
They said I had tickets and I could come. Well, initially my plane malfunctioned on my travels to this place to wherever I was going. Can't remember off the top of my head, but it malfunctioned and landed me here. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you need some help? You seem like you might need some help, and I can probably help.
Okay. Uh, if it gets the ship fixed better and I can get back to the university to put the information in the library, that would be cool.
Right on. I'm gonna need Pluiga to come back because I don't know anything about anything, but I can talk to some important people and help you out.
right on. I think after a few minutes, the Major Sarkoz comes back and he's like, he says, "Excuse me, ma'am," and he looks at you, Xander, and he goes, "It appears," he says, "What do you know about the Pulonis Independence Front,
Um,
also known as the Pulonis Independence League?"
well, GM, what do I know about that?
Would you like to make a culture check on that?
Sure do. Hey,
And skill expertise means you can roll a 1d. You get an extra dice roll that you can add to that on top of that. I forget what
um,
it is at your level.
I think it's 1d6.
It should be like 1d6 plus 1 or 1d6 plus 2.
I'm not looking for it. I know it's under here somewhere.
On his or mine?
Well, you're both this. On yours, it's 1d6 plus 2. So you get to roll an extra 1d6 plus 2 and add that to your culture check since you took skill expertise with it.
Okay, quick. Technical question. How do I type that into roll 20?
So you'll type in /r
Uh-huh.
space
Mhm.
1d6 plus 2.
Okay. Heck yeah.
28. Nice. All right. Hmm. So what you know about them is that the Patra apparently, so the Vesk are known as conquerors. It's kind of what they do. That's their claim to fame. In fact, the Pact worlds used to be at war with the Veskarium when they came. In fact, the war with the Veskarium is why the Pact worlds developed the Pact, um, because they started attacking in the system, and a lot of the planets were like, "Look, we need to sign together to fight these guys." Um, they conquered their own solar system before, long before the gap, and then reconquered it after the gap. They are, and part of their empire, like the Skittermanders are part of their empire. They conquered the Skittermander planet, which is its whole other story. But one of the peoples in the Ijtikris and the Patra are one of the are the races, and almost every one of these times that they conquered one of these planets, it was a different story. With the Patra, they fought back. The Vest conquered them because they had superior technology, but there are still a lot of Patra out there that resent that because they renamed their entire planet to Vesk. I think it's six. It was just Vesk in a numerical because the Vesk are not exactly creative people. Vesk Prime is their home world, and then they named every other planet they conquered after that Vesk, and then the numerical. Um, they renamed the planet. They suppressed their language, um, and then they're like, "Oh, now you're now integrated into our society, so you're part of the Veskarium." But there are some Patra that have sort of accepted this as the way of things, and they operate within the Veskarium society. But there's a lot of them out there that are still like, no, fuck that. That's our home world. We haven't given up the fight. We are not as conquered as you think. And this and these Patra have and this is one of the organizations that this Vesk is that Major Sarkaz is speaking of is one of these the Veskarium consider them terrorists. Um, but it's the old adage, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. In this
Mhm.
case, this is kind of much more true than in a lot of other cases that you've heard it in. Because it's very much that case. It's like, oh, they came in, they conquered, and yeah, they are fucking doing everything they can to break the shackles.
Mhm.
So, um,
So
but
I'd
as
like reiterate that to our
he
major
goes,
friend.
he goes, well, you're correct on that. How much do you know? How do you know so much about them? And you can tell he's kind of suspicious here of you.
I I know people. I know people. I hear things. I know people. And who are your people? Like who's over you? Let me talk to them.
He's like,
I feel
he's
like that
like,
was bad.
he's like, he kind of looks at you. He's like, I am Major Sarkaz. I am in charge of domestic. I am in charge of the peacekeeping force here. And he says, if you want to go higher up the chain of command, you'll need to submit a formal request.
Oh man, democracy's ridiculous. All right. Like I just want to know why these dudes were hurting my new friend, and I want to know what
No,
your force
no.
is going to do. Hmm?
He says, no, you don't understand. We're going to need to take all of you in for questioning.
Oh no,
Th-
I'm sorry. That's not going to work for me.
Those those Patra that just so happen to save you, and he looks at you, Xander, and he goes, they were crayfish. They were part of the Pulunos Liberation Front.
I feel like that's no. No, I'm sorry, that's not gonna work.
And you
No.
seem to know. And I think Tobin, I think Representative Elliot Togan goes, let's not get carried away here, Mr. Sarkaz and Major Sarkaz. These two are still Pact World citizens, and you're going to have to. And unfortunately, that I don't think that this is a strong enough. That your reasoning here is strong enough to detain either of them. You know, he says, I believe you're going to have to put in an official request. And Major Sarkaz just looks at you and just matter of factly he goes, very well then. He goes, I will have it submitted. He said, I will have it submitted within the hour. And he goes to take off. Like, this is a normal thing for him. Like, oh, I have to fill out a form to do a thing I want to do. Okay, well, give me the
Poor guy.
form, you know?
Yeah. So I want to find Pluega and be like, we gotta go.
Yeah, Elliot Togan's like, I'd still like to know who was I'd still like to know who the Vesk were that were after you. He looks at Xander. He's like, and why were the and why were the Polonus Liberation Front in the involved? There's makes no sense.
On a simple analysis of the situation in comparison to my existence, they defended me because they felt equal in the structure of bringing up ends that I was, and it was suppressed. And I want to find those people and talk to them.
He goes, yeah. He kind of goes. He goes, well, he says, I'll keep Major Sarkaz busy with paperwork for as long as I can. But if you're going to investigate this, or give thanks or anything, you may want to. You may want to give it a. You may want to consider a timetable. There's a if he submits that form within the hour, like he probably will, it'll still take a while to get through all of the channels, but eventually there'll be a hearing on the subject. They take they take terrorists pretty seriously around here. Um, he is, and he kind of he goes, he says, in the meantime, I wouldn't stray too far after the concert's done. I wouldn't stray too far from the um, from the city if I were you. We don't know who these people are and who these Vesk were that were after you and why. And he goes, I believe I'm going to send a message back to the Pact Worlds detailing the situation.
Yeah, I'll contact my father as well. And let him know what's going on here.
All right. Yeah,
I'm going to make a long journal about it and add it to a book. I don't have anybody to contact.
all right. So I want to
That's a good response.
I want to move over to merch.
Yay!
So merch, you and Nurse Jerk Dazil are and Ferris, your pilot, have managed to head towards the coordinates you listed her, and you see coming up very clearly, like there's something that pops up on the sensors, and uh and Fierce is like, oh, I don't fucking believe this shit. She's like, and there's a hail over the radio that's like, I'm sorry, but you've entered quite the wrong space. Coming to the Diaspora is a dangerous business, and well, you I'm gonna have to ask you to come with us for your own protection, of course. You have my word. As long as you don't, as long as you don't resist or try to run, you won't be killed.
Hand me the radio.
I think Fierce is like, hold on, this is still my ship, and she's like, who the fuck are you, and why the fuck? Oh, and she's like,
Madam,
and she's and the voice over the radio goes, I am Captain Zaradin. Perhaps you've heard of me. And
madam.
perhaps
Oh, go
you've
ahead.
heard and perhaps you've heard of the vendetta.
Madam, I think at this point it would be in your best interest if you hand me the radio. I am not requesting. This is an order. This may be your ship, but I am a passenger, and I do not want you or I to become a grease spot in the middle of space.
She goes, oh, she goes, I don't know if you want to talk to this one. Captain Zaradin is a free captain. The
Yes,
vendetta is a they're 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 pretty well known. They're a they don't they're arms they prefer to be arms dealers most of the time, but they're one of the more dangerous ships out there. I don't think we're going toe to toe with them.
madam, I don't think you understand. I understand the situation fully. I am the one who gave you the hazard pay. I know where we are going.
And uh, she's like, she's like, shh. If you get us blown out of the sky, I swear my ghost is gonna come back and it's gonna come back and burn your underwear every day while you're wearing it. You'll think you've got the worst case of jock itch ever.
Yes, yes, you're very scary, and I go commando. Now, please hand me the radio.
It's just like she's like patches you through and like but with a warning she goes, Captain Zaradin, there's somebody who'd like to talk to you. Know that he doesn't speak for the ship or for me. So if you decide to kill him, uh, that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah. I patched through, and I did roll a 34 Diplo just to make sure that you saw.
I see it.
Um, and I'm like, "Hello, Captain Zerden. My name is Matthias Deutschberg. However, you might know me as Merch. I'm actually a pharmacopist coming from the Burning Archipelago, and I am seeking some sort of counsel with someone from the Free Captains. I believe that Captain Zyvo Veto is a free captain, and I must mince words with him. Unfortunately, I do not have a direct line to him. However, I know that you all do. I am willing to reward you for your time with either credits or with my own services as a pharmacopist, but I must speak to the captain, and I know that Broken Rock is a common rendezvous point for members of your organization. I am sorry if there has been any disrespect or misunderstanding up to this point, but I hope that we can have an open line of communication, yes?
He kind of there's a bit of laughter, and he goes, well, at least you have a sense of decorum. Um, Unfortunately, Captain Volvetto hasn't been back to Broken Rock for a couple of months. We're not sure when to expect him, but we perhaps there may be some business that you can accomplish here. And certainly that ship looks very interesting. And he
My
is
apologies, but the ship is off the board. This is just a third party who I have hired to take me here. If you have issues, if you would wish to purchase the ship, I'm sure that the captain might be willing to either negotiate with you or tell you to stick one up your rear, but that is none of my business. I simply need to get to the station.
he kind of chuckles and he's like, oh, so all business that is then. And he kind of chuckles at you, and uh, and Fierce, for her part, just kind of is she like has her head in her hands. She's like, "Oh, we're fucked. We are so fucked. Well, either we're fucked or there'll be a really good party. Either way." And she and she just kind of like it does that thing pretty much the whole way back, like to,
Yeah.
and you see brought like see it come up on the view screen, the broken rock. There's just this massive chunk of asteroid that has like these big guns on the side of it, and what looks like a small teeming city that just is planted right in the fucking middle of the side of this thing. And it's just kind of like, and you see ships coming and going of all various types and shapes. You see everything from Zandite Collective and ships to Gitaron or Republic to Vestigarian built ships to Shirin built ships to Kasathan. There's even a couple of ships that look like they were built by Eoxian factories that are here, and some with some designs you're not entirely familiar with, including a few that look like they were put together by whoever is flying them, or whoever who's flying them got them from. Mishmash kind of things. Um, and as you manage to find yourself low landing and whatnot, we get the external shot of this. We see Captain Zeradin and a group of his crew standing there waiting as the three of you disembark. There's a you know and he's like, well, Mr. Dreisberg, what is it?
Beachbog.
Dishborg. Well, Mr.
Please. My friends call me Merch.
Well then, he goes, you ever play a game of cannons and black holes with a pirate before?
I don't think I've played a game of cannons and black holes before at all. And I'm gonna bluff, because I've totally played cannons and black holes. Damn, not
Yeah,
one.
he goes,
Nice.
I'm
he goes,
very clearly trying to hustle him, like, immediately.
yeah, he'll like he just laughs at you and he goes, well, perhaps there's a few that perhaps there might be a few crewmen and a few pirates at Bort's Booze and Bitches that might take you up on that. He says,
Hmm.
for you're welcome to stay loose while you're here. It goes
Sure.
without saying, you divulge the location of Broken Rock to anybody that's not a free captain, well, we kind of have to kill you. It's
Uh, Zeradan, I feel we've gotten incredibly warm in the last 15 minutes that we've known each other. You're like a brother to me at this point. I'm not a fool. I'm not going to tell anybody where this magnificent station is.
he's just like, and he kind of chuckles and he's like, and if you've brought any product with you, kicking a little back up to the council's not necessarily a bad idea. Just to grease the wheels a little bit. I'm not really telling you have to or anything. And he's totally telling you that
Yeah,
you kind of this is probably a really good idea since you were uninvited.
yeah. I'm gonna be like, I was actually meaning to talk to someone about that. Just because I'm not currently on a ship or within a large scale manufactory does not mean I do not wish to do my work nor make profit off the sweat of my own brow. Is there any kind of lab or someone who you know who has a third grade chemistry kit that I might borrow and turn miracles to make a few credits off of my own back yet?
This is he kind of chuckles. He's like, "Well, there's a few captains around here who keep synthesis bays on their ship, or and science labs and medical labs, and those kinds of things. You know, I'm pretty sure you can find a few med kits around here too."
Fair, fair. Well, if it isn't too much trouble, you do not owe me this. I'll be doing my own advertising as well, but word of mouth, especially from such a trusted member of this community as you, would be nice. I am offering my services, both medical and pharmacopic. If anybody needs an arm patched up, an arm lopped off, or an arm to stick a needle in, I am more than happy to help them.
He kind of goes, 30% finder's fee.
Is that going to be a drug dealer or a Diplo?
This will be a Diplo.
Let's call it an even 15%. No?
Can't do less than 25.
I feel I would be splitting hairs too much by going to 20%. I am fair with losing a quarter of my profit. I'm sure I will turn it high enough anyway. And he sticks out his Elfan to shake his hand.
And he shakes back. He goes, I'll mention it to a few friends here and there. He says, meanwhile, probably, he says, in the meantime, I believe I need to speak to the council for a bit here. A council. We'll send for you when we're ready. He goes,
Of course. And just remember to get my name right. I think that my resume should lead in strongly, and I, of course, will bring samples for all of them. I don't believe in paper telling them what I'm good at.
yeah. And he kind of turns and walks away, and he's like, he says, I have a bit of business, and he goes, try not to anger the locals while you're here, and he kind of, and there's just a riot of like different kinds of music and noise going on, everything from crew laboring to offload stolen goods to scavengers breaking down ships for parts to refueling to you can hear the sounds from a couple of different bars, and there's a few shops here like sort of like black market shops around here and what have you. um, and there is, of course, because this is probably where Zeradin took his leave of you, probably had you walking with him until like he got this far, and this is the doorstep he left you on. But there, in all its glory, is the infamous Bort's Booze and Bitches, the seediest of dive bar chains in all of the known universe.
Oh yeah. I'm what was the pilot's name again?
Ferris, yeah,
Ferris?
and she's just kind of like, shaking her head at this, and there's probably like Zeradin probably didn't say like a whole lot more to her.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, yeah.
I'm gonna go up to her and be like, so it appears that our landing has been received well enough for as it could be considered on Broken Rock. I've done a fair bit of research.
Yeah, for your part anyway. Well, as long as I'm here, I might as well try out I've never been to Broken Rock before. I've never been to this particular board, so I might as well go in and have a drink.
Of course. And there is something I want to discuss with you very briefly.
That being, and she raises an eyebrow.
Well, up until this point, you have performed your duties more than admirably with minimal resistance. I would like to offer you a semi-permanent position. I currently do not have any more of my emergency funds, and I'm going to have to earn a little bit of money off of my own work here in the next week or two. But I'd be more than happy to provide you with further pay for lodgings and privacy upon your ship if you're going to be staying in this dock.
She just kind of she kind of laughs, looks at you and goes, "Yeah, I'll think about it." And she kind of like she's like, "For right now, might as well live in the moment." And she kind of steps over a dead, possibly unconscious, a dead or possibly unconscious. Let's see, what is it this time? Hmm,
What are those seal boys called?
the seals?
Or the walrus people?
Oh, Morlama? Oh, that's
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, Morlama's a large creature. It's a little hard for a medium creature to step over.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe just stepping over the tail of a Morlama that
Yeah.
he's still technically kind of in the doorway because his tail is in the doorway.
Right.
And yeah, she steps in and it like goes into the, sounds of the raucous sounds of isekai gangster rap.
Huh.
Getting up the
uh,
cheese out of the fridge.
um,
Mike's stuck
oh,
under the fridge, you mean?
and
Ah.
let's cut back over to the Fire Shrike slash Blue Ember slash Crew O Crew. So I don't want to spend. Well, let's. How do you like? I don't want to spend too much time with the colonists and whatnot. I just kind of want to know overall, sort of like when you left, um, as far as governance goes. We know that the Strix were like were holding up for the initial promise of independence or autonomy for themselves. How do you work things with Chorus and his refugees and the terrorists?
Shoot them all and I move on. Oh, that's not what I do. Uh, all right, so trying to do everybody all at once right now.
Well, we're just kind of getting a general overview. I'm not. This is not I mean, unless you're really intent on role playing this out, I didn't really necessarily think this was something that was a huge point right now.
All right, so first is down for it, then we'll appoint him a sheriff slash mayor, so to speak,
Hmm.
and his people can be in charge of the mining operation.
Okay.
All right, so that will give them all good jobs to start. Then we'll give them, of course, section of land. And then Strix, of course, lead with the offer of the islands that are not that far off the coast. But I also demand strict treaty, keep everyone working together. We'll stay out of their spot, but they still have to trade, keep relations open.
There's a bit of chafing on this point, particularly with the Strix and the terrorists. The terrorists don't like anything particularly formalized. The Strix, on the other hand, definitely want it. But there is a agreement in place when there is an agreement in place for the time being.
Good. And then once the meeting starts to dismiss, I actually make sure that the terrorists stay a little bit longer, so to speak. And then I have a private conversation with them, which is, well, I could try to fight you to a certain level on all of the things that you do. But instead, we're going to do it old school. And I'm going to demand guild fees from all of you. And if we catch you working without the guild fees, then we'll go to plan B. And the reason for this is I can't stop you from doing your business, but it can definitely make your life a lot harder.
see. Need to look at something here quick. 'Cause that guy technically has a name.
The guy that we sold the crotch kicker 9,000 to.
The crotch kicker sidewinder.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then I wouldn't have necessarily intimidated for that check.
No. Thing is most of what most of what they're asking for, or most of what they're demanding, isn't unreasonable to you, but it may feel unreasonable to the others because
Uh-huh.
the Strix were never entirely comfortable with them.
Oh, and technically, I'm not necessarily comfortable with them either, but they did make a fairly strong case of why they should be allowed to stay if they want.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to lose a good 25% of those to natural causes on this planet within the first 6 months anyway. But we can hope. No. So if it's that guy, I will have a little more tact and I'll just keep with my diplomacy check. But I figure if you're going to try to do, roguish things and ugly things and something like that, then you might as well take something off the top. Keep them a little bit in check. And if they front too hard, I am Captain Zai. I may have to murder their whole family.
The notorious Captain Zai.
Right? And half of it is all story and not true. That's the best part. But they don't need to know that I'm not, that super badass terrorist that people seem to think I am.
The real question is, which half is the real half?
No?
So,
Captain Zai in general really just wants to have enough money to stay drunk and have nice shit. So all of the rest of it is just, things that have happened along the way that I've had to deal with because consequences.
so we kind of cut away from that and we get like the, span of, what is it? Let's see. I'm gonna say it's 1d8, and it takes 6 days for the ember to get there, but 2 days for the fire Shrike. It has to wait. Did you guys manage to make it back to the Pact worlds? Twinkle,
Pact
what are
world, okay.
yeah? Go because you were gonna go. You were talking about going back to Broken Rock.
Oh yes, no,
and-
I have to stop by Broken Rock first.
yeah. Yeah, you managed to make your way to the familiar coordinates and what have you. You are
As soon as
hailed.
we get within their censor range, I start playing the kitten fits at full volume.
There is actually a pretty solid response fairly quickly. Like there's maybe the first couple of notes get played, and you get a communication signal. Like there's like ah, it's like they're like uh, unknown ship identify.
Turn it up just a little bit louder so that the first guitar riff can play out, and then I'm like, Broken Rock, this is Captain Zai returning to base.
Oh, Captain Zai. Hey, we'll clear up landing pads and docking spots for you. And he goes transmitting your landing coordinates now. And you might want to talk to the council when you get in.
I was going to say, would you let Bames and oh man, what's his name?
Zeradin,
Zeridan definitely, and Chunderbucket as well if he's here.
Rigo Rez is
Oh yeah, well, I will definitely hit Rigo up actually as soon as it's a little closer.
yeah.
He's a good friend.
When when you get there, when you do manage to land, as you're coming off of the ship, and Twinkle, this is this the first time you've been to Broken Rock?
He would say no, but yes.
Nice.
Not that he's letting anybody know. He's learned long ago. Don't ever tell anybody you're new anywhere.
You're on the ship with me, right, Twinkle?
I think I'm on Blue Ember 2.0.
Okay, if you're on Blue Ember 2.0, at some point before we dock, I will actually mention basic rules to you, which is I don't care if you've been here before, but if you fuck up, it makes me look bad, and I will shoot you in front of these people to save face.
Wouldn't
It's not a
expect
threat,
any less,
it's about
Captain.
keeping me alive.
Wouldn't expect any less from you, Captain.
All right. Hand
So
you a piece of paper has my signature on it.
Is this my get out of jail free card?
It just means that you don't owe me 200 credits no more. That'll be good.
the
Huge weight off his chest.
so how do you when you guys like who all is going on is disembarking on the rock? Nurks definitely would because
It's The Rock. Why wouldn't? Dear God, she's gonna make so much money selling fucking.
yeah, yeah, she's probably gonna not to mention she's got plenty of things that she's
She's
got
got some
connections
chicken
here.
here.
She got connections here. You also like who
But we
else
vetted the dock by anyone after we're like,
you are. I just want to know who all is disembarking. Glycil, unless you order him to off the ship, will probably stay and continue to
I was
work on the
gonna say,
project.
I was just about to say, I don't think there's anything here that Glycol necessarily needs. I mean, we definitely keep everything he has access to stocked. If we don't stock it, we make our own. So, yeah, he's
Vector,
fine. Yeah. Security protocols 1 through 7 after we leave. And remember, right before you die, if anyone attack, it's a self-destruct button. Just
yeah,
kidding, Whitetail. There is no self-destruct button.
there's
Just initiate protocols 1 through 7, and you should be fine.
okay. I'll I'll be here whenever you're ready. And
Yeah.
he's just kind of like goes back to his work. Vector, he'll probably go. He might disembark simply for parts, but that's up to you.
Are there any Osharu women at the brothel?
Um, Probably not.
It was worth a shot because if there was, I was going to pay for one and send it back while we were gone.
I'm not sure Osharas work that way, but okay.
Probably not, but it's a nice thought. Michael, it was nice.
Um, so is like Twinkle, are you disembarking too?
It'll be fun.
Twinkle?
Michael is off camera at the moment.
He must be.
Hello? Can anybody hear
Oh,
me?
there you are. We hear you.
Oh boy. All right. That was a thing. Sorry, you were trying to ask me a question.
Are you disembarking and going out onto Broken Rock?
Yes, but not on his own. He's probably going to tail somebody.
We're going to take the cop car. You can just ride with.
Sounds good.
Are you taking are you taking any of your security team with you, or like Scramjet will probably go because he has business off, but Whistle Fizz is kind of one of those that'd
Can
be
we
up to you.
make it to the cargo bay where the vehicles are stored? I have a rather long moment holding on to Nahir's, buggy.
Well, you have his wrist computer that allows you to control it remotely.
I realize all that, but it was one of those things that I, as a person, and I, as a character, didn't think about until he just walked in and saw it.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
that's why we're having this moment. Uh, I slap myself with 3 of my forearms, and then I get in my cop car and everybody else to pile in that's coming.
Yes. All right. Um, you
Look at
are
Twinkle, and I'm like, Ashira's not coming. She's got space diarrhea.
you
Oh.
you do you do actually are actually met on the at the docking, the landing or whatever with by someone. You're met by a couple of people, as a matter of fact. There, Zeradin is standing there in all his glory. Drow elf. Zeradin is a drow elf with an eye patch and is bald except for a top knot on the top of his head, a long white shock of hair. Um, and he looks every bit the rogue, and every bit the pirate. But standing next to him is a Drow female that you don't recognize. Well, maybe you do. You probably do recognize. It's his pilot,
Motion check.
Ibel.
Okay.
She's got like short white hair and almost of a pixie cut, and kind of has this sort of casual look. Like oh, I'm here because I'm supposed to be, but no stake in this at the moment. Um, you also see another member of his crew that you recognize, but we'll get back to that in a minute because Captain Vames Kiln is here also. His,
Well,
long, rangy hair and his, long.
5 o'clock shadow that doesn't quit.
Hmm?
5 o'clock shadow that doesn't quit.
Right? Yeah, and he,
In that
and,
case, we'll come down the runway and park immediately, and I'll jump out of the cop car and forearm hug fucking Zeradin,
and
pick
you
him
see,
slightly up off the ground, and I'm like, my brother, it's been too long.
yeah, and
Set him
he's
down.
like, yeah, he's just kind of like, his reaction is kind of like, oh, hey, he's like, hey, wow, man, been hearing some of the stuff from the outer colonies from you. Sounds insane. Literally the most ambitious thing I've heard of anybody doing in quite some time. He goes, and the other member of his crew that you recognize is one Kolnak Forge Corps
Uh,
dwarf with a mohawk and a kilt, and just and he kind of stands there and he goes, "Oh, the mighty Captain Volvetto, scourge of the spaceways." He goes,
reach down and I
he,
pick him up and hug him
he
too.
goes, yeah.
Like he's
Oh,
not.
well, there's this moment where, well, maybe there's this moment where he's like, "You don't look so tough to me," and there's a moment where he's just giving you shit, and you both start laughing, and then he's like, and he goes, and he's like, how have you been, you fucking bastard? He goes, and where's that sour-faced shadow of yours? Where's Nahir at?
Score changes, the mood goes somber, and I just get off my mask, drop to one knee, and I'm like, who's taken? I still have to get him home.
Taken? What do you mean he was taken?
Just give him that look in his eyes.
No, that can't be. I've seen
Uh,
a man. I've seen a man tear apart mercenaries with not but a survival knife before.
maybe that was why. Maybe that was why he used his survival knives. Unfortunately, here proved enough to save everyone else at the cost of his own life, my friend. I've been dealing with it for a few weeks now.
And he kind of nods solemnly. He goes, and he's like, "Oh," he goes, I always liked the bastard. Oh sure, he was like stone telling a joke. No humor in it whatsoever in the man whatsoever. But I'd consider him a friend. He says we'll drink. He says we'll drink one for him later on. He goes. In the meantime, I was wondering, and he kind of looks over at Zeradin, who shrugs and he goes, Would you be in the market for an engineer? I've done trained me apprentice with Zeridan. I cannot teach the kid no more. He'll have to figure the rest out on his own.
Oh no, who's this kid you're talking about?
He goes, he goes, it's just some human. But he seems to
I don't
pick
like
up
you.
enough.
All right, yeah, you're hired.
he goes, he goes,
I like humans just fine.
he kind of chuckles. He goes, yeah, otherwise you wouldn't have been able to stand Kelvin for as long as you did.
Eh. Oh no, he looked an awful lot like his wife.
He don't, he goes, well, I don't know, I didn't know how to react to that because either you are that blind drunk or you just don't know humanoids or you just don't know two-armed species that well.
Okay, we can talk about that later. Captain Vames. Sorry it took so long to get back.
Indeed. He's like,
Throw him a chest full of money.
he
Oh, I
goes,
don't throw it. I take it out of the trunk.
he's like, well, that goes a long way to improving one's mood. And he's like, so, and he's like, let's take, and Zeratin kind of does that, hey, let's take a walk, like, lead, and he goes, so, been hearing things out there, what you been up to? He goes, council wants to know about this Neverwhere operating pirates out in that area. Boy, girl, what species, and what are they doing? What is their end game? What is their goal?
Do I legit know what she is?
Um, some sort of shapeshifter for all you can tell.
Right? As far as I gather, it's a shapeshifter.
In fact, you're not
And
even sure what gender they are because
yeah, and
seen
as
both.
far as gender goes, it just depends on what moment of what day it is. Sometimes I would almost say it was not really their right reason. I'm not exactly sure if they know that they're doing it at the time it's happening, if that makes sense. But I trust her slash him a lot more than I trust that dirty vest.
Jakara's,
Yeah,
yeah, his standing has been strained. Unfortunately, he's still got some political backing in the council.
it happens. We have political backing in the council. Ha 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 ha.
He just said they kind of, yeah, well, even with Rigo Rez's vote, still it doesn't make a majority.
Oh, I just said representation. Fine. Anyway, so do you need to know about Neverwhere besides that? So far, all my dealings with her slash him have been honorable.
Does she keep to anything close to the code we keep down here? And Zeridan kind of pipes in and goes, it is important to know whether the reputation of the free captains would be tarnished by such activity in the region. When we take a ship, they have to know our word is good, whether we're promising death you know, or simply, life if their survival if they don't resist or whatever it is.
I've found her to be honorable, as I said. No, having dealt with so many disreputables, doesn't seem to be high on my list of worries. While she has power and influence within the system, um, on bringing down Mastodon almost as much as I am.
We got a half of that,
Ah, that sucks. What half did you get?
the last half.
Okay. Yeah, she seems as hell bent on bringing down Mastodon as I am. So I have no quarrel with her or anything that I have seen or heard about occur in her system. So there's some weird sexual thing between her and Bettina Quinlan. So there's that.
Well, that isn't that about scandalous? That's a great rumor. I hadn't heard any other rumors out from the from the colonies. It's
I've
like
been trading back messages between them. It's interesting and amusing at the same time.
it's like like so. What brings you to Broken Rock this time?
Oh, God, did he not listen while I was talking to Kolnak? Doing something else, or do I need to do it again?
Well, I mean, I guess he
Alright,
would
that's fine.
probably understand that you're back. That you're back because you're taking Nahir back to some burial or whatever. But he,
And
the stop.
to summarize, at the moment, I technically have a note from my aunt that lets me come to the Pact Worlds and go home to the Adari. I'm not exactly sure why she has extended such an olive branch as this, but it makes it way easier to get Nahir home. So for that, I'm happy. Past that, I've opened a planet settlement. I'm currently trying to deal with 3 separate factions that, of course, don't belong together. And while I don't plan to rule with an iron fist, I've let them know that if shit happens, stuff will be fucked up. And other than that, I think we're caught back up. Oh, and the Greys have returned, but not Squishy.
He he narrows his eyes. He's like, haven't seen that one in quite some time. He rather disappeared.
They tend to do that. In fact, most of the time, we're not supposed to remember they were here in the first place, I'm told.
This is true, I suppose. He says,
Not being
any
a
idea
gruff
what
voice, try harder.
any any way any idea what they're doing or what they want?
Oh, something about I'm not asking the right questions. Oh, to ask more questions and if I can come up with something. But so far, you know, hi, you're an alcoholic with a drug problem. I want you to ask questions, and we're not going to give you any clue what the questions should be. And since you're those things, we should just tell you and then force you to do it anyway.
Hmm.
Now, the story would be over. Bye. Yeah, Grace are crazy.
So as usual, nobody knows what they're up to.
Right?
I'd
Oh,
hoped if
and then I
anyone
go, Twinkle, you see, other people believe in Grace way easier than you do.
well, I had the benefit
Captain,
of meeting one face to face.
Captain, seeing is believing. And until one of those slimy gray hands is wrapped around my throat, I ain't seen it.
He's
That was a horribly foreboding moment.
right. I think Zeradin probably turns around and goes, Twinkle, huh? He goes, a new crew member, I suppose?
Oh yeah, stuff is also gone.
The Black Rat?
Yeah, that's why
Really?
we got a white one.
Well, well, what exactly happened to him?
He got
Sacrifice. Sorry,
stuck
Twinkle.
under a fridge. We'll just put it that way. Can we?
That's okay then.
Yeah, Slef's words, not mine, okay?
That's well, I suppose I'll find out the details later over a bottle of Zangleberry gin or something. He's
That's something new. I don't remember what it's called, but it was promising, whatever it was. She
ah,
just got a larger space to put her stills, so she's happy about that.
and you can probably hear Nurks arguing with Zeradin's pilot in the background, or not necessarily arguing, but doing the barb thing at each other. It's like, that you can hear in the background. So I hear you're almost as good a pilot as I am, and the drow woman is like, "Really? I hear the same about you." And they're kind of going back and forth, that sort of like professional rivalry, kind of thing. And of course, since it's Nurk, she's needling as hard as she normally would. Um, but when it comes to Kolnak, there is probably a moment where like she's kind of avoiding him at the moment, and he's more wrapped up in the conversation with you and Zeradin. So they haven't like really. She's mostly interacting with Zeradin's pilot at the moment. Um, it's like, I bet you I can drink more than you can and still outrace you. It's going on in the background. Um,
I'd take that bet.
yeah, they're just like, see, he knows, he knows. Like fucking, and she's like,
Oh,
she just kind of like the drow elf woman just kind of shakes her head. It was like, and there's a moment where Zayu also, by the way, those of you who are from the Pact worlds, you all receive all kinds of messages as soon as you get back to the Pact worlds. People who sort of have your number but don't know where you're at to send messages elsewhere. And a great deal of these are like junk mail and, kind of stuff, and advertisements, and, you know, the and, and there's a few that are like maybe whatever friends and family or contacts that might be just like checking up on you, like, are you okay, or oh my god, you really stepped in it now, or whatever. But Zai, you get one in particular that stands out to you. That halfling lawyer that Ernebron Talat used with double bind jeopardy, that clogged up the legal system on Akaton long enough for you guys to get out to the colonies.
I remember him.
Yes. Mike, we are talking. Is
Can I hear us?
so
I don't think he's on. It did that to me earlier. It kicked me out.
Huh.
there
Okay.
you are. Are you there? Can you hear us? I can hear you now.
Yes, I can hear you guys now. Can you hear me?
Okay.
There
hear
you
you.
are. You're back. All right.
Oh,
So
I'm back.
No, Mike, we can't hear you.
Huh.
but there is he does say oh, by the way, there is somebody who's looking for you, possibly of interest to you. Specialist in well, let's just say pharmacological needs. Is little some little plant guy with a strange accent showed up here with a drow elf nurse and a freet pilot that was looking for you, and specifically
Freet
wanted an
pilot?
audience. And a freet pilot.
Ah,
I scared the shit out of her. I told her her ship looked very nice. And he goes,
I laugh.
I mean, the council will probably actually take the ship. I mean, they did wander into our space uninvited, but, you know,
How did this little plant dude even get coordinates here in the first place?
that's a very good question, and I'm not certain about the answers to that. He says, did make it fairly clear to him that if he ever revealed those coordinates, that he'd be killed. Seems like a nice enough fellow. He goes,
Right. I'm sure he responded with, yes, of course this is the way.
oh no, I'm certain that his status as a dealer from the archipelago means that he's probably a little bit more than what he appears to be, but For now, he seems to have good manners anyway.
Excellent. Well, why don't you go ahead and send me what you have on him already? And after I talk to everyone that's more important than somebody I don't know, I'll get to that.
He's like, oh, the details. Oh, and notice you're looking a little, you're flying a bigger ship. Will you be picking up any crew while you're here? I may have
I
a recommendation or two.
was going to say, I have already picked up Colmac because I lost two damn good engineers. Black Rat, of course. And then his friend Elgas has taken solace on planet Zai for the moment. That's correct, right, Mike?
Correct.
And oh yeah, Elgas is a welcome addition. Yeah, I'll need a few more.
I think
Mentioned
Qualo
fellows.
probably disembarked with you too, and so did Lady Sonnet. Well, Lady Sonnet probably disembarked on her own, but you know,
Yeah, she can handle herself here. I don't even have to have the talk with her.
yeah, she's been here before. You've met her here before.
Mm-hmm. But so all right, so I've seen Zerdin. I mentioned to Vames that if he's going to try to get any backstock of Zangleberry, that he needs to talk to Nurks after he finishes this discussion with me. Then, what else do I need to see? Is Chumbucket here?
Chunderbucket Charlie?
Chunderbucket, I'm sorry. Chumbucket is the other
Haven't
name.
seen
Charlie.
Haven't seen Chunderbucket Charlie in some time. He stopped in a few months ago for a few. Then he sort of, uh, well, he went off of the grid, as it were, as wants to do some from time to time. Not entirely certain what he's up to.
I don't think we actually have a picture for him, dear. Um, yeah, all right, so. Think of anybody else I actually need to see here. Since you're on the council, giving you the money still fucking works. And I saw with him. And no shower women at the brothel. Fine. Have that man's number.
He says, "Well, we sort of left him by the boards."
Oh, have him making things, I see. How's the quality of his product? Is it better than mine?
Well, he hasn't dropped off a sample yet, but the people I've spoken to speak highly of the product.
What about of his character? What do we know of it?
That's a little bit harder to pin down.
His bodyguard is an Efreet. I'm sorry, pilot.
I'm not certain if she's his bodyguard. She seems to be hired hand at this point, and I don't know that she was hired for that purpose so much as just as a pilot. After all, she didn't seem to terribly keen on, didn't seem to be adding any protective to him. She
See,
seemed to be of her own business, as far as I could tell, anyway. That may be a false impression, or it may be a bit of a, or it may be situation may change. Who knows?
there's a board spoofs and bitches here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is
You've
Broken Rock, Captain.
you
Of
have
course
been
there's
to it.
aborts.
You have been
Okay.
to it. I think you've even bought a T-shirt here.
I'm pretty sure I've bought a
T-shirt time!
at
Yes!
every board spoofs and bitches,
Yes! T-shirt!
including the first one, because I was there.
Yep.
But we haven't had gravy fries and hot wings. Well, but anyway, so I sent a text to Plant Man. I'm like,
Well,
this
he
is
didn't
Captain
actually
Todd.
give you his
Oh.
number. He was just like, we just left him here. And like, they didn't
Oh,
bother to
fine.
get it.
Then
Don't
we go
worry,
to Board's Booths and Bitches, and then I look for the plant man from there.
You
And
see
then-
him in front of Bort's Booze and Bitches.
He
You
knows
see
you.
him. Yeah, no. You see
You
him in
might
front
see
of.
him. He's small.
No, you see him because he's actually set up his medicine or his drug lab in front of Bort's Booze and Bitches off to the side.
Like
Um,
Girl Scouts.
He's somewhat hustled the like security guard at the front to leave him alone as he's just like, ladies and gentlemen, do you want to go up? Do you want to go down? Left, right, upside down, shrink or grow? I have everything you need. All you must do is put in an order with me, and of course, wait about 15 minutes and I can produce it for you in spectacular style.
Captain?
Huh?
Did you forget to pick up your crazy pills on back order? Because I think this guy has them.
Can
get down
I?
on
Oh.
one knee.
Yeah.
I get down on one knee and I look at Twinkle and I'm like, Twinkle, this is not the craziest person I've ever met. You'll find out if you stay with this long enough that most people aren't as crazy as you think. The ones that you don't think are crazy are absolutely nuts. But I'm going to assume that this little guy is batshit crazy until otherwise proved.
So,
But he wants to talk to me, and I'm on Broken Rock. I might as well.
You keep
Jesta.
looking at it, Captain.
So Jesta,
yeah,
I
You
have a what?
you would recognize Captain Zyvolveto
I'm
and
definitely
Yeah.
not
at least
in
a few
disguise
members
at the
of
moment.
and a
Sure.
few members of his crew as they approach. They're you like Nurks like probably travels just slightly in front of him with and like hops over the tail of the Morlama that is possibly drunk or passed out or dead. And
All the same here.
without even missing a beat, and goes directly and doesn't even look at you, but you recognize her and look down the street and you see Captain Zai, and I don't know, you'd probably recognize who else is like Qualu maybe from the stories anyway. Is Rek with you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, not Rex. Tixpit.
Oh, Tixpit's with you.
I remember Tixpit is my new bodyguard.
Ah,
So,
okay, yeah.
Literally,
two
he
questions.
hovers as close to me as possible.
Two questions.
Yeah.
First question, I have about 2,500 UPBs. How much would it be to have made a dose of Luxtasy? I don't have the pricing on Luxtasy.
It hasn't ever actually existed.
Yeah, we really have. I've never given it hard stats as such.
Sometime you and I need to get together and put together a table of drugs that I like to make and their effects that we
Right.
can agree on, you know? But
Right.
do we want to just call it like 500 UPBs for like an ounce of Luxtasy or something like that? More or
Yeah,
less? Okay.
That's fine for now.
Okay. So I'm assuming I've been in the spaceport for about an hour before Captain Zai finds me, right?
You've been here for a couple hours.
Then I've had time to make an ounce of Luxtasy, so I'll do that in the background because I have heard that they have dealt in Luxtasy before, so best to tread on what they know. And the other thing is, as Nurks walks past me without saying anything, I just say, "Have a good time, Nurks. Be sure to be drunk enough to fly."
Yeah, she just flips you off and keeps walking. She's like,
Yep, no reaction
it's
on
like-
my part.
she's just like,
Oh,
yeah. But
Said that, I pat
You hear
people on the
around it-
head, and I'm like, well, since you know who we are, what's going on? What do you need?
Hmm.
Who are you? Why are you here?
What am I, and why am I here? These are very philosophical questions, Captain.
Captain, are you sure he's not crazy?
Oh, you are?
I think ladies first.
Yes,
Please,
you're right.
continue.
I don't really even care, to be honest with you. Captain Zai, hello. My name is Merch. At least that's what my friends call me. If you want a professional title, I am Dr. Matthias Dieschborg. I am a pharmacologist and drug designer to the stars, and I am quite very capable at my craft. You and I believe, could have business. You just have to choose to continue this conversation with me. If you don't, I'll understand and find another crew to ride with.
Great, let's go, Captain.
Uh, do a sense motive on it.
Sure.
If I can find my button.
All right. Not
Just gotta take
bad.
it.
I mean, I'm not really bluffing, so you can read right past me. He's just very straight up and very like, I have a business proposition. You can listen to it, and I'd prefer if you did, but if you don't, I suppose it's no skin off my neck. No skin off my radish.
Lewd.
All right.
Ha.
Maybe you should close shop and come with us to boards.
I was
Are you
just about to
serious?
make enough to recoup, but I always have time for a nice lunch. Do they still have those, what are they, cheesy dippers in there?
Perfect seasoning, but
Yeah, and
All
like
right.
essentially
Right.
with a snap of my finger, my entire lab like folds up into a small briefcase that I pick up, and then my mule drone lifts me up on top of the little saddle.
when we walk in, is it the same Kasathan guy that's always been here?
No, no, it's a different Kasathan this year.
It's always a Kasathan.
Not really. You've ran into Sheeran's tending the bar in here before.
I was
Dude,
hoping you'd say like
Sheeran's would
you've
be-
run into show bads, like
Sheeran's
No,
would be
you-
so fucking good at bartending. I mean, they got like 6 million arms.
Yeah, most of them are not useful for anything.
most of them are not to be revealed in polite company.
Hey, bars aren't polite company. There you go.
Yeah, but also I've never seen someone stirring a Mai Tai with their cock, so you know.
Well, you're not going to the right places then.
You probably
They're-
get a sidelong glance, Captain, from Twinkle. Are you serious about this?
You
Cool.
picked up a literal cabbage.
I
You
don't know how to explain this to you any better than this. I'm going to entertain this idea until I decide not to. In fact, most likely way for you to make sure that this guy ends up on the ship is to keep complaining.
Fine. You want Slash 2.0 on the ship? That's great. But leave me the fuck out.
Is this loud enough for me to hear?
Oh, that part? Yes.
Yes, definitely.
I say, excuse me, I can't help but you have a hard time distinguishing me from the Black Rat. You see, I have not yet bombed anyone, nor am I currently causing you an imminent threat. It
Yeah?
was my understanding he constantly caused imminent threats?
All right, that's it. I'm going to buy a fucking t-shirt. Just
Ooh, pick me one up. It's extra, extra, extra small.
yeah, sure. I'll do that right after I turn you into a fucking onion ring volcano.
Ooh, spicy. This one gets riled up easily, Captain.
I'm not
Only
exactly
we-
sure what's happening. This is technically new behavior.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. He's just like Merch is like he's got a faint smile on his face, which from the lines on his face is kind of unusual.
Yeah, I think
After Twinkle walks off, I go, I think it's because you have taken the place as the shortest member of the crew.
Inferiority complexes are important, Captain.
hey, yeah, it'll cost you 20 credits for a t-shirt.
All right,
Wow.
we're going
Are they on
with
sale?
black stealth camo.
25.
There you go. They're $5 off today.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a yeah.
Um,
You now have a. You can now put in your inventory. You have a Borts, Booze, and Bitches T-shirt.
um, I'm
So broken.
assuming Jerk Tazal is with us.
Yes, yeah. Jerk Dazal. She is standing behind you, just waiting for instruction, essentially.
I'm going to turn to her and go, Nurse, you have been working so hard for the last couple of weeks. Our departure has been a fairly consistent work stream. Please go enjoy yourself for a while. I will message you whenever you are needed. I'll give you plenty of heads up.
She nods and she nods and walks kind of she nods and walks away.
Yeah.
Standing, and I think Qualu is probably like he's kind of taken like the rest of their crew dispersed and whatnot to a certain extent, like 'cause so you can do business,
Mm.
Captain. But
I'm gonna say, Qualu,
you
you watch, and Tixfit, you stay with me.
yeah, Tix Pit.
Yes.
You by the way, Merch, you realize that Tix Pit stands ridiculously close to the Commodore. It did.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's trying to shield me with his own body.
I love it.
Either that or he has no concept of personal space.
Oh, and
Probably a
I've
mixture
also
of both.
explained to him while he's on duty doing this that it's okay to invade my personal space to a certain degree.
Yeah, but he's got and Tix Pit is like this gigantic, like this. Well, he's a
Yeah.
medium-sized creature, but he's a big fucking centipede creature.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, no,
holding,
I have
holding
many
it.
much points in life science. I probably could identify just about anything you throw at me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I know
yeah,
their patterns and all that jazz.
like you know exactly what he is. You're like, oh hey, it's the Belida.
Yeah,
He's
yeah. Very fascinating creatures. No, but yeah, we probably find like a booth or something. And
Definitely.
I like oh what, Captain?
Oh, I'll order the first round and pay for it, and then what are those fucking drinks that we always get here?
Obsidian Sunrises.
Obsidian Sunrises. I ordered 2 Obsidian Sunrises. Each of
Mm.
it.
Yeah, I go, Captain, I hate to waste your credits, but I'm not much of a drinker.
Let's see. Well, and I hand one to. No, she's not here. There's your captain. Brought you here.
Oh, the woman who flew me here?
Yes.
She's somewhere around here. I offered to keep her on retainer, but she stood me up at that point and said she would think about it. Often I find when people say that they will think about it, they do not actually think about it.
I find that also to be true.
Mm.
Now, why have you sought me out?
Captain, I'm not going to bore you with a very grandiose elevator pitch. I hear that you are a man who gets things done, and that you are a floating manufactory in the sky. Someone who likes to disperse weaponry, no?
It is true. My side jobs include weaponry, medicine, drugs on occasion.
Well,
But normally we just buy our own drugs.
well, please, allow me to tell you that those days are over. And I open up the compartment on my mule drone, use my L fan, and grab the ounce of Luxtasy, set it on the table, say, whoever you have as a chemist, you may test it. It is of 99.998% chemical purity. I'm working in a fairly dirty environment, as you can see, but I whip this up in an hour. I am an artist, Captain, and I'm also a man who enjoys to make money. Art and capitalism pair quite nicely together when you create consumer goods. I think that we may be able to have a very friendly and mutually beneficial relationship.
I had for a while. Heck, honestly, I'm interested about getting you on my ship if for no other reason to see what happens between you and Twinkle. He seems to have taken a disliking to you for no actual real reason. except for the fact that you look scary because you are small.
Look scary because you're small.
Yeah, I'm like, if you wish to watch the drama between players, I will not be feeding too much into it. I will be honest with you. I have
I
much
don't
more
think you'll
important
have to
work to
do.
do.
Also, um, something else.
Hmm.
The woman that was with you, when you called nurse before you let her go for some time, will she be accompanying you as well?
Yes, she is part of the deal. She is the best help I have ever found. For about 2 years now, she has done what no other nurse can do for me. She is, let's say, the most consummate professional you will ever meet in the field of assistance, of medical assistance.
So, said has been provided. Thank you. That was my next question.
Hmm.
Very well. Two of you it is.
Yes,
Um,
and you know, as naive as she seemed, if she is inclined, I would ask you to consider the pilot that took me, the Ifrit. She seems to at least have a good sense of humor and understands when not to ask questions and understands when to follow orders, as far as I can see.
did you
But
give her the instructions of how to make it here, or did she find those out somehow on her own?
oh, I gave her the instructions on how to find this place. This is, I mean, I don't know why she would have this place on backlog. She
No,
seemed fairly surprised when seeing it.
I'm sure. Okay, well, that answers all of those questions. May not be of the right caliber for a crew such as this. But
Sure.
I will offer her an opportunity if she wants it.
When
Of
you
course.
look over, when you look over to the bar, she's actually drinking with Nurks.
Ha!
and
That's actually
and
way funny.
they actually seem to be in the middle of they actually seem to be having something of a drinking contest. Uh,
Damn! Someone
and there
going toe to toe with Nerks.
and
So,
there and there are people betting on it around them. So
I
um,
text Nurks. I'm like, Mr. Caliber, and then offer her a job if she passes.
Hmm.
and yeah, Nurks kind of looks at her communicator and there's this look that you're not sure entirely if it's if like if there's annoyance in it or just sort of like a I'm busy kind of thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
She looks at it like and puts it back and goes back to like take another drink and like kind of putting them away at the moment. Uh, Colmac, for his part, probably has probably wandered over to Twinkle, and he's like, "So, I didn't know many of the captain's new crew, but I'm Colmac Forge Corps. I was the original engineer before Slav. Uh, he says, your name is Twinkle, right?"
Yeah, that's right. Good to meet you.
He's like,
Relax, good people.
wait. He's like, first of all, what do you listen to? Are you listening to the hardcore stuff? I mean the really hardcore stuff.
Depends what you define as hardcore, my friend.
Compu Carnage. And
Oh,
you've
you
heard
know,
of them. Compu
you,
Carnage is a dwarf death metal band. And
Twinkle looks at him, raises an eyebrow, and says, "I got their first 15 albums on vinyl. Come on, man. Try do me one better. Come on."
he's like, vinyl. They only made those a special edition. You can't get the filter of the reverb on the bass on that one. He goes, I've got a much clearer recording. Gets all of the perfections and imperfections of the percussive and bass parts It's really something to behold. Quite complex music. Most people think it's just a bunch of noise, but it's really, really densely packed notes. They're all so complex, it's not even funny.
I'll put it this way, man. Half the music I listen to, you'd call me a saint for, and the other half, you'd probably hang me for. Okay, I listen. If it was played, I've probably heard it at least once.
He
Not
goes,
only do I have them on vinyl, I've got a couple things from the Keepers, and then of course old buddy Ezzy got some of his stuff too.
he kind of chuckles when you mention the keepers. He goes, ha, the keepers. He goes, those bastards know how to party, but damned if they're not a bunch of buffoons sometimes.
Oh, trust me, sometimes.
Somewhere in the
I heard about what
distance,
they did to Ezzy.
somewhere in the distance, Ezzy screams, "Thank you."
Heard what
Don't
they
get me
Uh,
wrong, I like their music, they're talented, but it's a little bit weak compared to what I normally listen to, but occasionally it's good chilling out music.
To be fair, sometimes when you're, hopped up on 3 times the recommended amount of isekai dose of Luxtasy, you just need to chill.
He goes, he kind of chuckles, true enough. And there's and maybe this is kind of the scene we like fade out on as we as we kind of do get a little bit of a cut scene here elsewhere in the Pact worlds, and maybe we get like the title card of the Adari, the Doyenate of diplomatic relations, and we see a couple of Kasathans there. It's like, um, and the first one is like, she's like, of course she voted against. Of course she voted against bringing her nephew in. It would be improper to do otherwise. And the other one is like, it is a male, and he's like, hold on a second. And he's like, brings the, and he's like, yeah, he goes, I understand that, but it does speak to the character that his own family wouldn't vote to bring him in on something this important. And the Kasathan is the first Kasathan is like, had she voted in favor of the measure, there would have been endless rumors of nepotism, favoritism, political rigging in order to restore the honor of an exile. It would have been damaging to both the Doyenate and to her own clan. Like there's like if we need to use Volveto, that's fine. But I would just as soon not drag her into this any further than we have. And the second Kasathan is like, oh, I think it's a little too late for that. This is no one here has any. No one here has has enough. No one else here is going to be able to deal with both the political end and with him. It's like, and there's like a moment of silence where the two of them um, look at each other, and there's a moment of a moment of like understanding to a certain extent, like the moment you come to when the only option on the table is not one you really want to use, but you both know that it has to be done, and that's the kind of like sort of like look they share back and forth that eh, God, if we need to. Um, but I think at that point it is 11 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get sign offs, and everybody mail me your Player's Choice Awards votes, and we will move on down the line, and we will start sign offs with Scott. How about you start this off here?
All right, I'm Scott. Psych, whatever, whatever. Pick a name. I don't care. And okay, so today I was playing Xander that enjoyed good music and documenting until everybody decided to fight over me for some reason. We'll figure that out later. But I made a new friend. She seems kind of cool. Other things I'm in. Tomorrow night, the whole Star Wars thing. I'm the Gray Jedi can't speak. Ma Still, who is the healer Jedi. He uses the Force to make you feel better. Then on the Hench to Mensch, I'm supposed to be Knight, and I can disappear, which I still need to go get Fruit Loops and replace those.
What else do you need to get?
I don't remember.
The snack cakes!
Oh, the snack cakes. Those are
Damn
yummy.
it, you eat all of them!
They were good.
I was saving them.
Oh. Okay. I'll add that to the shopping list. Let's see. And then on Thursday in Legacy of Stramdex, I'm Snipe, the little scientist dude that's trying to figure things out, I guess. Then when they do Justice Grab Bags, whichever, and Flesh on Fire, I'm the mechanic dude, Jake, that has to figure out what his part is in upcoming future. We do Legion class wrestling. I'll be Adam Mason, the manager of Bear the Boulder Breaker. And that's fun. And the last one is on Sunday night. I don't know what the new name of the Tales from the Strike verse. That's what it was. I don't know what the new name is. But I'm going to be Shush. I am Shush in that one. The one that shoots people and then blows up and makes people catch fire. And I think that's all of them. I got a lot.
That's right. Shess is a Lashunta Solarian, so. All right, cool. Let's move it down to Amy. You want to go next?
Sure. Hello, my name is Amy Gedden. You caught me here tonight playing Besa, the Lashunta, who is very curious about life and things going on in it, and apparently knows people. I don't play anything else right now because my schedule's weird, and also I got sucked into Animal Crossing. That's still a thing. It's a problem. Send help. And that's me.
All right, cool. Gunner, why don't you go next?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sarah Smith. You just saw me playing Twinkle, the very grumpy isekai. Something about Mr. Radish Head just rubbed him the wrong way today. Who knows what it was?
I tend to have that effect on people. I don't know why.
Maybe it was the accent. Maybe it was just the fact that. Maybe it's just the fact that Twinkle has a horrible suspicion that he's going to be more trouble than he's worth. Whether that's true or not, well, that remains to be seen. And you heard it here first, folks. Twinkle will not believe in aliens until one tries to strangle him. DM, I'll leave the rest up to you.
Well, you know.
I have a glimmer box on my stuff. I can become a gray right now and clear.
Yeah, that's not the same thing. You can also find me on, Wednesday, playing Acer, the sharpshooter who had all her fucking food eaten. Someone's going to the grocery store. It is not Acer. You can also find me on, Thursdays, playing Heracles, the paladin who is wondering how the hell he got roped into a chaotic neutral adventure when he's the lawful good paladin. You can also find me on, not Friday, Saturdays. This Saturday, I believe, is going to be Spark Fate.
Yep.
I believe that's 30th. Yep.
Should be, yep.
Where you can find me playing Mulch Ambershard, the dwarven cleric that is really kind of fed up with magic. Like, he is himself a magic user, but he is just so done with magic users and magic and possessing people and other bullshit. So, yeah. You can also find me on Sundays running Tales from the Cosmos, where our bands of just one right now, band of intrepid adventurers ended up critting and critting and critting and critting and critting some more because Pathfinder 2 Second Edition, they make it really easy to crit things. It's ridiculous. I need to start putting higher armor class. No, you know what? I did that already, and then they decided to stun them. Never. Ramblings aside, I hope you're able to drop by and watch them as they take on the beast in the sewers, and then hopefully find Rawl's parents, or remember to find Rawl's parents, because that's what they were originally doing there. So, yeah, and I think that's me.
Right on, right on. James, why don't you go next?
Hi ho, friendolas. My name is James, otherwise known as Nightheart, and you've caught me here today playing Starled Silverchild, the human witch warper who doesn't act like a human very much because he's bad at it, but who eventually will be involved more in the plot, I think, once he solves the great case of the Triaxian conspiracy theory to prove that birds were in fact killed by the Kasathans in order to spy on us. You can also find me here on Tuesdays, and not this Tuesday, we will not be having our Star Wars The Old Republic game, but you can find me here on Tuesdays playing Chitin Abikid, the Grey Jedi, who's very happy because he's got 2 lightsabers for the price of 1, and he's got 6 more he could make in all of that box of fun. On Wednesday, I'm in Hench to Mensch, where I play Martyr, the very dyslexic supervillain-to-be, who is going to be the reason that this Ponzi scheme gets validation, and people aren't going to be like, hey, this is just a supervillain training camp, because they'd be like, nope, that guy over there, see, tutoring, get fucked. On Thursdays, you can find me in the Legacy Strandex, where I play Seifel, the very unlucky Tibet Duskblade turned bonded summoner who now has an angry rain cloud that follows him around named Precipitous, who has many hats.
I love Precipitous.
On Saturdays, depending on the Saturdays, you can either find me in one of the many different Justice Grab Bags, including Apocalypse World, where the Commodore wants me to mention that at the gates of Detroit stood the last alliance of beef and men. Or you can find me in A Spark of Fate, where I play Marin Farcaller, the boring old human sorcerer with a not-so-boring fairy pretending to be a fruit bat named Zam Zam.
I love Zam Zam.
I love Zam Zam.
Very well liked, Zam Zam is.
Marin, not so much, but Zam Zam always.
Yeah, Marin, not so much.
He's a boring old sorcerer. What do you expect?
Except that he can move 40 feet a turn, because wild magic is the one table I do roll good on. Consistently. On Sundays, you can find me in Tales of the Cosmos, where right now I'm playing Raul Damaris, the homunculus alchemist, who's a big sad boy who had to bop a giant octopus to death with a mace after enabling it to be like mega critted by the rogue a few times and electrocuting it with bombs. He might be the one that bombed Canary Wharf. We'll never know. And I think that's me. I'm in almost everything.
Yay.
Awesome. Commodore, why don't you go next?
Hi, I'm Captain Zai. I'm a 6'4" Kasathan, which means I have 4 arms and kind of look like Goro. I play here with the crew of the Fire Shrike on Mondays. It's my favorite day of the week. We have a lot of fun. We get off topic from time to time, but we're pretty good about it. And we're also horrible about getting here on time. We apologize for that, but things happen. Do our best. Sometimes I play Rita Throatrot, a boy that likes to dress like a girl and ride a big motorcycle between his legs. And other times I'm a nice boy named the Sarasota Kid. Thank you. It was there. I just didn't get there. And That game's a lot of fun too. Occasionally, they get me to try and run stuff, and we will eventually do the second half of Skitter Crash. And that was a lot of fun. I had fun with it. Other than that, my friend Purple Kodak sells t-shirts at tpublic.com. They are fantastic and amazing t-shirts. This commercial is so epic and so without ethics that we have a second part to it. James, if you would.
Got no ethics, but it's epic. Buy from Codex, enter Teespring campaign.
Normally we would say on to Purple Codex, but happens. So on to the next person. Cheers.
That would be win 5 get 1 free. That'd be Mike.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mike, also known as Win 5 Get 1 Free, and you have caught me here tonight playing the creepy little radish man, Matthias Merch Dishboer. You can catch me on Thursdays, where I run Legacy of Stramdex. I swear, promise, 100%, we actually do play that game sometimes, and it's not just a figment of your imagination. It does, in fact, exist. You can also catch me on Saturdays, where I play in Justice Grab Bags and various black box theaters. I've been playing recently. Recently, I played Vorchal the Unending, a little skittermander who had the whole world on the tip of his spear. And I also played Beef in Flesh and Fire. And I played Doyle, also known as Eastern Bloc, in what's it called?
Legion Championship
Legion
Wrestling.
Championship Wrestling. Yeah, that was definitely coming to me. I promise. And you can catch my SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/thathoon. Okay, if you are watching us on Twitch and you want to catch us on the YouTubeosphere, go to youtube.com/Parodice Theater. We are getting stuff uploaded for once. Thank goodness. If you want to catch us on, if you're watching us on YouTube and you want to catch us in the Twitch Nation, catch us on twitch.tv/pair_o_dice_theater, because SEO is a bitch. And if you want to see scheduling, miscellaneous, and hot memes, you can catch us on Twitter at Pair Theater. And I think that is everything I have for my outro.
Okay. Well, that leaves it to me. First of all, bookkeeping out of the way. Tonight's Player's Choice Award goes to merch. Give yourself
Woohoo!
700 XP for that.
Thank you.
And also, everybody else gets a good, was it 1,000 XP?
Oh.
So there is that. And with that said, I am the Just the King Zerat. You can catch me here on Monday nights for Fire Shrike, my favorite band of space pirates, space terrorists, and never-do-wells. You can usually catch me here on Tuesdays for our Star Wars game, or the Fantasy Flight System, where we set in the Old Republic, time zone, which means that I'm playing a smuggler who is obsessed with making credits, she was gonna go. We were gonna go on a vacation, but then work found us. So make credits. On Saturdays, you can catch me here for either Spark of Fate, where I play Grunum the Gutfisher, the Tundra Orc Barbarian, or where I run one of many Justice Grab Bags, where we do either Faulty Comics Presents, where we take the old DC second edition DC Mayfair hero system, and we throw away all the DC and we do our own comic book universe. Or for Legion Championship Wrestling, where we use the Worldwide Wrestling system, which is sort of an apocalypse-based sort of system powered by the apocalypse. I think they call most of that. Or you can catch me running, speaking of apocalypses, the actual apocalypse world system for Flesh and Fire, which is all kinds of weird. It's mad. It's very Mad Maxy. It's very with a lot of extra psychic fuckery, and it's crazy, and you should check it out because God, the characters are super over the top. It's great. Um, or you can catch me here Sundays for what has been called Tales from the Shrike verse, but will be getting a new name and so a little bit of new structure. By the way, to all of you out there, sorry I disappointed everybody by not being here last night. It was humid out, and I mowed the yard and then took a shower and then passed the F out. And that was kind of the end of me for last night. But I swear I will do my best to be there this next Sunday and get this thing going again. Um, in any case, with that said, I believe that is all that we have for tonight. Let's get an RIP Fern and get out of here. RIP Fern!